Hi everyone, welcome to another Hatton's Model Railways Skills Cast, where we give you some of the best skills you can learn to enhance your model railways and your layout. Today, we've recently been talking a lot about different skills that you can learn, customizing your locos, and there's a lot of videos now on our channel showing you just what you can do with a small selection of tools. But just what tools do you need for a workbench? What are the 10 most important for you to have, especially if you're a brand new modeler or someone returning to the hobby and you want to make sure you've got the ideal bits so you can get started with doing some amendments and improvements to some of your collection. So today we're going to cover the top 10 items that I think you need as a beginner to get onto your workbench to get ready to start commissioning your locomotives. And I've got them right here. I'll be talking through what each item is and giving you a little bit more reason as to why it's so important for your workbench. As ever, if you've got any particular questions or queries, please do put them in the chat and I'll be answering questions throughout the stream. First of all, the most important part, we've got to look at where our workbench is as well. We've got to have a flat, firm surface and we've got to have a bit of space so we're able to spread things out a little bit and have a nice area to work in. I've got around 4 foot that you see in front of me here, and that's ideally the same size as one of our precision baseboards. If you've not got a workbench already, you can use one of those, but at the same time, if you have some spare shelf space or you have a desk at home that's not being used, you've got roughly the ideal size for a decent workbench. And of course, it depends on what you're doing too. If you're working on smaller locomotives, you don't need quite as much space. But if you're working on a lot larger O-gauge locomotives and above, you do need more space for that too. So do bear that in mind when you're deciding where to put your workbench. But we'll get straight on to item number 1. And that is the cutting mat that I've got here. They come in various different sizes. Again, really good for you guys who might not have doing more space for a workbench. You can get them right down to the A6 size, but I usually use an A3 size that you've got here. This is a perfect surface to really do a lot of amendments and carry out some of the changes to your particular models. So you can improve, amend, and change over your items on a smooth surface. They're also great for building card kits on too, as the surface does heal on some of them and you can really use your knife and make sure that you're not damaging any furniture. It's a specific place to make sure you can amend your models and do any detailing on without damaging a worktop or a garden table or something along those lines. It's a specific piece of equipment just for that. So that is my first item, and it really is one you need before you get started. We've got them in many different sizes. This is an A4 model that you've got here, and then you can see the larger A3 size that I've been using throughout my Skillscast streams. So if we're looking at amending locos, we're looking at fitting digital sockets, fitting more details inside, taking the bodies off them to amend and change and add extra detailing. So many reasons you'll need a decent pair of screwdrivers. And I usually carry a good couple of sets. I usually have some of the smaller and larger crosshead and the flathead screwdrivers. And you can get a sample of those in the Hatton's Essentials pack. There's actually 10 different ones that you can see there. And they cover most of the sizes on a lot of different model locomotives. So if you have a look in there, you can see that there's various different crossheads and flatheads, and that will then give the right solutions to get inside your locomotives. If you check out our opening locos video, we've shown just the difference in a lot of the different screws that you do get on these particular vehicles. So have a bit of a look. Make sure you get a good packet, or if you've got some screwdrivers to hand, make sure they are precision and sized for the models that you are opening up. So that is my number 2 item that we've looked at today. So we've got our models open. We've got a place to work on them. Now we're going to be adding some of those extra details, and we really want to make sure that they are staying on the models that we have. So number 3, of course, is a good, strong plastic glue, especially if you are gluing a lot of items from different detail packs onto your locomotives. This is just one example that I have here. This is the Deluxe Materials Plastic Magic. but we do sell many different types made for many different occasions. If you have a look at the descriptions on the various different glues on our website, it will tell you the ideal purpose for each type. You need glue to stick together card kits. You need plastic glue to stick the plastic detailing onto your locomotives. PVA for gluing together our tables and gluing down ballast and static grass and many other additions to your layout. So glue is pretty much an essential when you are looking at customizing your collection. What I have done as well is I've put a link into our description with some of these items in there for you. And of course, if you need any more information, do ask your questions in the chat and I will cover them throughout the stream as well. So we've got glue, so we can now start customizing our locomotives. We've got the screwdrivers to open them up with. And we are well on the way now to getting a little bit of action onto our workbench. But what if those details need cutting off the sprue? What if you need to amend a detail or you're actually making your own details out of plasticard? You need something to cut those down with. And that is where our trusty craft knife comes into hand. Again, many different variations of these are available if you check out our website, made for a lot of different occasions. And this is my item number 4 on our top 10. So this is a Gauge Master variation. There are models that come that you can tie around your finger for precision work. There's various different types there, large and small with replacement blades. But as long as you get a good craft knife, you'll be able to cut up those different details that you need to fit to your locomotives. Again, another essential for putting together the card kits, to cut them off the sprues and to put them together as well. So now we're at the stage where we can add a lot of details to our locos. We can really get these card kits going with glue, knives, screwdrivers to open the locos. To get that precision, to get the real skill and quality that you need, especially when cutting with a craft knife, a steel rule is my number 5 item on the list. And that is my next recommendation for you. These are absolutely fantastic. When you have a knife and you are cutting straight down the edge, you will get a certainly straight edge with a steel rule. They're also fantastic for measuring, putting different details onto your locomotive. Say you're adding extra couplings, or you just want to make sure how big the cab on one of our P-class locomotives is to fit one of the drivers or to fit some other cab details in there too. There really is endless uses and a lot of opportunities to use a steel rule. Plus, they're quite inexpensive as well, as is everything that I've touched on today's session. So that is another one of my essentials. So let's have a look at number 6. You might need to amend some of your locomotives. Maybe you want to put detailing on that's not in the detail pack. You want to add, I don't know, a headboard to the front of the locomotive, and you need to create a hole for that headboard to sit in. So now we have item number 6. And at the same time, we have item number 7. And these are the pin vise and the different size drill bits that we have on offer. And that then, when put together, looks a little something like this. You'll just see the drill bit on the end there, as you can see. So this then allows you to drill into your models. You can start cutting and drilling small holes into them with the different size drill bits. You can get the precision you need to add on further detailing should you wish. Most locos come with holes already drilled in for some of the detailing parts, but if you're adding after factory detailing parts, or you really want to make sure they're secure in those holes, a pin vise and a set of drill bits is exactly what you need to make sure those holes are perfect for adding some of the detailing. And then you use your glue and put them in, and we are sorted. So that was both 6 and 7 at the same time. So we're well on the way to our top 10 already. And as you can see, we've not got a huge amount of tools here. There is only 10 that we're recommending today. And of course, there are more than this besides. But for the beginner, these are the ones that we would recommend. Let's get on to the fiddly bits. Let's get on to the parts that sometimes disappear. We've all had it when fitting details. You don't quite know where a part's gone. You may have a small item between your fingers, and putting it in, it's not the best way to do it. Again, you need something with a little bit more precision. And that's where tweezers come in handy. They're just a lot more precise than you can imagine with putting items between your fingers to fit to locomotives. You've got the sharp tips on the top and many, many different types of these that you can get. A lot of it is down to personal preference, but some of the angled models that you see here are better to fit in detailing on underframes of locomotives. But just having that precision to be able to pick up small fiddly items such as couplings and being able to fit them without an issue rather than having them between your hands and possibly losing them. You've got a good firm grip on that there, and that's not going to go anywhere while you've got it in between those tweezers. So tweezers are my number 8 item that I've got on my top 10 essential items for you on the workbench. Have a quick look at number 9. So there's a few different items there. Again, if you wanted to customize some of your locos, files are a great way to do that. This is great for removing some of the metal detailing or even some of the plastic detailing on your locos. Say you want to remove a part that's already there and replace it, you can easily file it down to keep a smooth finish on your locomotive rather than snapping off any detail parts or amending them that way. This gives a really smooth and doesn't really damage the paint unless you do it too hard as well. So say, for example, we wanted to take the whistle off the locomotive and have a flat roof. You could remove the whistle with the tweezers and then a quick go over with the file, maybe a little bit of paint afterwards just to touch it in. You've got a locomotive that has a completely different cab roof. Very easy to use. These are diamond files, so they'll last a really long time as well. You can get some cheaper ones out there, but do go for the quality in your files and you'll find that they'll last you a long, long time. So last but not least, we're up to number 10. And this isn't actually something we sell, but it's something I'm sure some of you may have lying around, or indeed you may be able to pick one up from somewhere, but I'll recommend it to you anyway, as it's our final item. This is a very smooth, very unabrasive little makeup brush that we have, or any other kind of brush really, a little nail varnish brush, something along those lines. As long as it's very smooth, these are ideal for removing any dust or marks or dirt from your models. Just smoothly brushing over the models like that will remove 99% of dust from the models that you have. So you can just do that there. If you use a harder brush, such as a paintbrush, you'll find that it does start to remove the detailing. But if you just want to clean up your locos, say they've been on display on your fireplace for quite a few months, and you want to amend them, put some more detailing on, it's always great to give them a clean, as it is to give them a clean if you're running them regularly too. So where you'd do a lot of maintenance underneath and you'd oil your locomotives, doing the cosmetics is just as important as the operationals, and you can just brush down your locomotive as so and get a really smooth finish. So we have everything we need now on our workbench for a beginner to add details to their locomotives, build some of the card kits and modify some of the ready-made buildings that are out there, cut different parts of items to make new items, or indeed add brand new plasticard items, or even look at scratch buildings too. We have the precision items we need to make sure we've got a firm handle on any parts that we are putting on or taking away with our tweezers. We have a good set of files to make sure any amendments we do can be smoothed off and brought back to a really good looking condition. We have a really strong plastic glue and various other glues besides to make sure any parts that we put on are going to stay on, such as real coal or any of the details included in the detailing bag. We have screwdrivers and a steel rule to make sure that we're opening up our locos and we know exactly what is going on when we are inside them too. So that is my top 10. These are a good selection of items if you're a beginner to get started. But I'm not going to leave you with 10. We couldn't stop at 10. I had to throw in a few more for you guys at the end of the day. So these are two things that a lot of people don't think of as an essential on a workbench, and they're not really tools. So I couldn't include them in our top 10, but make sure you guys are listening because these are needed just as much as the others. Shall we call it number 11? I think we'll call it number 11. Number 11 is cocktail sticks. You can pick these up pretty much anywhere, really. These are ideal for fitting small parts and getting glue on the end of them to add onto your locos. If you use glue straight out of the bottle, you can put a lot more on than you do intend to. And you can see a lot of models out there which have unfortunately been coated in glue rather than precision paint or something similar. If you're using a little cocktail stick, it's fantastic to just put a tiny bit of glue on the end of one and just have the amount of glue that you need. It's also great for just making sure things like etched nameplates can be slightly nudged into position once you are amending them on your models. So cocktail sticks is one. And last but not least, if you're a regular watcher of our videos, you'll know this one already. It's a good piece of foam. If you're carrying out any amendments on your locomotives and want them to stay in place while you're doing so without damaging any of the details, always have a good bit of foam to hand. You may find this in some packing from an item you've recently bought. You may indeed have one in a spare locomotive box too, but a good sheet of foam just above the size of your largest loco is absolutely essential when you are doing any detailing. Indeed, if you check a lot of our videos, you'll see that I regularly use one of these when I am carrying out some of the amendments there. So I thought I'd give you an extra 2 for your money there. So you came along for a top 10 and actually you got a top 10 plus 2. So I hope you appreciate the extra value I've put in for you. And of course, this isn't just the amount of items that you can need. If you're really getting into the technical side, you can start looking at drills, Dremels, etc, etc, etc. But this is my selection for the beginner out there who's really been inspired to get detailing their locomotives, to add a lot of different things, maybe build some card kits as well, and check out our video on that if you do want to give that a go. Otherwise, this is what you need to get started. Other than the cocktail sticks and the makeup brush, everything is available from ourselves as well. And there is a full link in the description should you wish to have any more information on these particular pieces. If you do have a different suggestion or you think I missed an item out of our top 10, do let us know in the chat and the comments too. And I'd be interested to know what's an essential part of your workbench, if not one of these items that you see here already. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've been able to take some advice from it as well, and maybe take a look at our other Skillscast videos on our YouTube and Facebook channels for more inspiration to get modeling with some items that you already have in your collection. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page for more videos like this, including Skillscasts, real railway profiles and model overviews too. Otherwise, thanks again for watching. Check that link in the description and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.